And okay, we're on. Hey, hello everybody. Nice. What? Yeah, that was your cue, man. That was your cue. You had one job, man. You had one job. You had one freaking job. Okay.
This is our second episode. Let's.
Okay. Any case, hello everybody. I'm Joe. From Joe Gaming. This is my bro Knight.
Hi.
If you guys saw our first video, this is episode 2, I guess.
Yeah. Whatever we're calling this, but I don't think we finalized the name for this yet.
My RWBY podcast series. That's what I'm naming it.
Yeah, RWBY podcast something. We'll call it something.
Something. Alright, any case. Today we'll be talking about episode 3, so if you haven't seen episode 3, get out of here.
And go watch it because it's really good.
Yeah, trust us. If you haven't seen all my stuff on Twitter and on DA, it's an amazing episode. Loved it. Rooster Teeth, you guys nailed it! You guys rock. You guys rock so much. Okay, any case, with that out of the way, let's get into our discussions. So, if you have seen the episode, we're just going to do a brief recap of it. So basically, this is where we get basically everything we wanted. We get the answers to who Salem and who Ozpin are.
Yeah, and it's shown in a basically a flashback format where we see the beginnings, and it's a very interesting take, I would say, on a classic fairy tale. In the beginning, I always thought was Rapunzel, which I thought Salem would be something like that in the beginning, but then it turned into just a great reveal, I would say.
100% great reveal. In all honesty, I just love the kind of the passion I felt between them, and and I can't believe I'm about to say this after everything we've seen her do since then. I kind of felt bad for Salem to the extent that she went through that whole process. Like, the whole reason she went to the gods was because of the fact she wanted to bring her love back. So I feel sorry for her in the sense that she lost someone she really cared about, and she wanted more than anything to bring him back. Her methods about going about it were not ideal, but I mean, love is never really ideal in the first place. That's not what I meant to say. I'm sorry. How do I phrase this? I don't know. It's just like, love is not always the rational route, and sometimes not the right route. In this case, it wasn't the right route, because she ended up defying the gods and turning the gods against the world.
Okay.
There we go. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can I talk about, do you want to do this later? I want to talk about some 2 problems I have with the episode.
Actually, yeah, go for it. After this, I'm going to theory craft like a boss.
So, 2 problems I have with episode 1, and this is, remember, spoiler for the episode. But, in part of the episode, after Salem resists the gods, brings, basically a human army against the gods, they kill every single human in an instant, like a Thanos snap. But then apparently, humanity comes back. They don't explain why they do this. Why the gods decide to bring back humanity. They leave, but before they leave, I guess they decide to bring back humanity. They don't give a reason as to why they would do that.
I mean,
and clearly,
they loved humanity before Salem turned them against them, really. Like, it's not like they really hated humanity and what they did. So they wanted to give humanity a chance to revive, to be reborn.
But did they come back? Did they just, like, leave, blow apart the moon, and then, like, the Light Brother or whatever his name is, come back and, like, just activate the button on reborn humanity?
Well, I think, like,
leave again?
Like, the brothers decided to remake the world where they don't have the gifts of the gods, like magic and things like that. And from that point on, they decided our presence will no longer be part of this world.
Well, they still have semblances.
Yeah, but semblances are not magic, though, as Ozpin made it clear.
Okay, still don't understand that logic, but yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's that.
The other issue I have, which kind of makes sense in narrative, but just seems kind of weird. Well, they had to have this, but basically, Salem whole entire thing is driving Ozpin back to life.
Yeah.
And then the light god does that. In the end, so he could defeat Salem. So he could
Yeah, so Ozma could defeat Salem.
Yeah, Ozma could not defeat Salem, but it's like hide the relics or something.
No, it was. I mean, actually, yeah, I guess it wasn't to.
His mission was basically activate the 4 relics to call them when he believed that humanity should be judged. So basically, hey, when do you guys want your court date? Now, wait for it, or...
No, but like, Ozpin himself said that was his mission, though. Like, in Volume 5? When he first showed that he and Oscar could switch, he talked about how his mission was to eventually beat Salem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is kind of...
weird that the gods would choose, the light god would choose that one guy, and not any other warrior of the time.
I mean, he was the most famous, Ozma.
There has to be someone else.
I mean, that guy that he became after that must have been pretty famous. He was king and god temporarily, so...
Yeah.
Alright,
Also, another problem I actually just realized, maybe it's just a water remnant, I don't remember, but did he mention how the fauna got created at all?
I don't remember in all honesty. It's been a while since I've seen the World of Remnant, and I remember I watched the Faunus one. I think they kind of just explained that they were like... I don't remember, actually. I completely don't remember.
Yeah, me neither. I wish they made some clarity about that. But I maybe I already said it. I just don't remember.
Yeah, it's not coming to me either, man. I know. There is actually something interesting in this I actually really wanted to talk about, and it's something that probably everyone theorized this at this point. But this is the main reason why I wanted to make this video, the biggest thing about this. Should I go into it now, or should I just wait? What should I do?
Go into it now. Sure, why not?
Okay, they had children, Salem and Oz.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, they did. That was really... I did not see that one coming at all.
I didn't either, but what I absolutely didn't see coming, especially when I just put this together when I saw the episode, aren't they the maidens, the first maidens?
Well, here's something I never understood. I don't think clearly understood. Is Ozpin the wizard in the maiden story?
I'd say yes, he absolutely is.
Yes, he is. Okay.
Because they explained that in Volume 5 again. Same episode that I mentioned last time.
So, if he's the wizard, and those children were the maidens, did they reincarnate?
They did. I mean, they had to have. So just in, like... It seems like the maidens kind of have the same ability Ozpin does. Like, every time he dies, he's reincarnated to some form.
Well, maybe like the power moves, but...
No, but like,
how do they work with the relics? How are they the keepers of the vault? Like, I always imagined it being that there are these 4, I guess, girls, because that's what it is in the World of Remnant. But there are these 4 girls, and Ozpin gives them these basically, like, key powers to unlock the vaults. That's what I always imagined being. But if it's...
No, but like the way Crow explained it, that was the thing. When he was talking about the maidens in Volume 4, he says like their very souls go together, and that's why I'm thinking basically it's like Ozpin, where like a small part of who they were before remains. Because that would explain kind of why we don't hear the voice of Ozma in the voice of Oscar's head. Or maybe that is happening, we just never hear it. I don't know.
Well, actually, I think it's actually the voice for Ozma was the same voice actor as Oscar. I believe that was his, or maybe I was just hearing things. They're very similar.
It's just what I'm getting at is we don't hear Ozma's voice in Oscar's head. Like, we only hear Ozpin in his head. We only hear that being of him, that presence of him, I guess. I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How do you feel about the fight scene between Ozpin and...
Okay, you just glitched out all over the fight scene.
I did? Alright, how do you feel about the fight between Ozma and Salem?
I honestly thought it was well done. I will admit I like the fight. In all honesty, I have wanted to see Ozpin and Salem fight for a while. I'm honestly still surprised that Ozpin ended up losing, but it was still a really good fight to see. I'm not going to deny that. It was
From
just
what I remember, the fight was just them going at each other, and then we see at a hallway they're going back and forth, and that's it. And then Osmond, and then the place blows up,
and then we see Salem stab him.
and that's it.
Yeah, that's in. I mean, like just from what we saw from the shadows on the wall, it looked really cool.
What do you think Salem's powers are besides Ayla's control over the Grim?
Well, she has like a god-like power. I guess like she has very powerful manipulation. But that could just be her own ability. I guess not really power.
I think the way I see it is that she's immortal, so she has that. I think the Grim, she doesn't really control. She doesn't just control the Grim. I think the Grim saw like, oh, we can't kill her. Maybe we should just respect her and do what she says. Basically.
The Grim are not smart enough. Like, I mean, Mike and Marty probably, but not the regular Grim.
Yeah, the chibi Grim. But what are her actual like powers? Like Ozma's power to me is just reincarnate, poke at stuff with a stick.
Poke at stuff.
And that's the best way to describe it. And green shield magic thing, I guess.
That's the definition of semblance, but yeah.
Yeah. But if he has these like powers, why doesn't he use them?
Well, as he mentioned before, it's dwindling. Like, he gave power He gave power to Crow and Raven, and then that was the thing, like the last he could possibly give without giving everything.
So actually going back to the thing before, so if the maidens are those children,
yeah,
did he give the power to them because it said that the children had powers? They found out the powers the same day that the fight between Salem and Ozpin happened.
Well, we don't know if it was the same day. We actually never got a concept of time.
I think it's the same day. It's like it was supposed to be a day for joy, but it wasn't.
Yes, I guess that would make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a lot of questions.
Yeah, a whole ton of questions. There's actually another one I wanted to ask. Do you remember that scene where one of Ozpin's reincarnations asked the Relic how to beat Salem?
Yes, that one.
Do you remember what the answer was?
You can't.
Yeah. Do you think that means there is no way to beat Salem, or do you think that means that just he specifically can't?
Interesting.
Like, if you think about it, Oz, like, they said that she can't necessarily give you the broad answer. She could just say, you specifically. She's giving the answer for that specific person.
Yeah, it's like, you know how you word a question and then you get a weird answer? It's like...
So that might be this case. So saying, maybe it comes down to... Because the way I see it, there are two ways to Sunday that Salem ends up being beaten. One way is through Ruby's silver eyes kind of turning her back to normal, which will make her just at least human, which takes away a lot of power.
The silver eyes, I think, just freezes stuff. What does the silver eye do?
We actually don't know. Like, as far as we know, Crow said that it can kill a Grim just by looking at him.
Yeah. Now, that's the thing I actually didn't like about Volume, mainly 4, I think they were dealing with a bunch of stuff I couldn't focus on it, but 5, I didn't like that they didn't mention silver eyes at all, except until the end. They didn't explain how it works at all. They really need to start doing that, because that was just...
I mean, they did talk about it in RWBY Chibi that one episode.
They did say, can't do it, season finale.
Yeah. So basically, we know, like, they're saving up for it. They can't really explain it if they're not planning on using it. And I think the fact that they're not even talking about it to the point that they're not even using it means that we're a long way away before.
You should ask about, like, Crow or Ozpin about how the silver eyes work.
Well, I mean, you've probably heard the popular theory that Maria has silver eyes.
Yeah, I heard that theory.
As in, that could be, like, how we learn about them, really. That she has it.
That would be interesting in how they work.
Yeah. There's actually something interesting about the name itself, Maria Calavera. I looked it up. Apparently, it's in relation to a Mexican holiday called the Day of the Dead. In case you guys don't know what that is. It's like the celebration of the passing of our friends, and they're saying maybe that might have something to do with what Maria's semblance could possibly be. It could be communication with the dead, maybe communication with Summer, per se, perhaps?
Who knows?
Exactly.
There's something, what was it? There was 6 points I was going to make that you mentioned. Did I forget it?
Sounds like you did.
That theory, you just said the theory about the silver eyes. Okay, I forgot the other thing, but something I was mentioning. Do you think that RWBY in like these last few episodes has gotten bloodier? Like,
I mean, kind of. I mean, the guy almost did lose his arm.
That much, like, the only blood they really had, I would say, was in like the beginning in the White trailer where Weiss gets the scar on her eye.
Yeah.
And then volumes 1, 2 don't really see anything except maybe a cut that John got. Then volume 3, Yang uses her arm, loses her entire arm, and we just see yellow, which I'm guessing like an aura, but no blood. And then 4, we see a little bit of blood from the guy who was the huntsman that was stabbed in that village. We tells them it was bandits. Yeah. 5, I don't really remember that I've had that much blood.
I mean, we definitely had the Lionheart scene.
The Adam scene. Well, I don't remember. But in 6, Adam, he killed all those. There's a bunch of blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Ozpin's fight, and Sam's trying to kill herself. There's like blood. Like, it could be a new effect they've added. Like I heard and I watched behind the scenes.
RWBY Rewind or what?
No, it wasn't RWBY Rewind. It was something else. And they mentioned they had a bunch of new effects. And I think the blood could be one of them. They're trying to make it more realistic, I would say. But some things are just going like, I thought the Ozpin thing, he lost like a lot of blood and was still just like, didn't look like he's got that much cuts on him or anything like that. So I thought it was a little weird. How like there's so much stuff behind him, but I guess like this back got damaged or whatever.
I don't know, man.
It's just things I notice.
Yeah, it's like, I guess it is getting bloody, but I mean, like, it kind of gives that more. It gives it more depth, I guess you could say.
You're saying more maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to like a mature series. Like, it's like in the beginning, it's like a kid-friendly series. Now it's like it's a mature series.
I mean, I knew it was a mature series after Crow.
Yeah, after.
I was saying I was distracted, so I was defeated by the sheer look of the lady's skirt length. After that, I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the good old days of Volume 3.
Volume 3. Volume 6 has turned out to be a really good volume, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. I love every single detail about it. If this is what they call what was swept under the mat. What?
There's one thing I don't really, I hope they're going to do is, like, have Neo in this volume. Because they have, I believe that's Roman's had in the intro.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you, for those of you who didn't know, Knight was actually supposed to be with us in that first episode we did.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Can you say that again?
Alright, I said you were supposed to be in that first episode of this podcast that we did.
Yes, I was. I just couldn't make it.
Yeah, so, what do you think of the theories we've been coming up with for the Spider Lady?
What were some of the theories? Can you give me a little refresh?
Well, a few theories mainly revolve around mind control, saying the spider marks on all the people were kind of her way of controlling people.
Okay.
And then we were saying maybe, like, this was Roman's, I guess, birth, or, like, where he came from? Where his criminalness came from, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was it. Effectively, we didn't really go into detail.
That's it? Okay. You actually just gave me a theory from those two ideas. I don't think the spiders... I think it's just like a gang tattoo, basically.
No, but like, it seems like more than that, especially because of the fact that Spider Lady's like, I learned to make the spiders work for me.
It could be just a gang thing, I think. Also, I think maybe Neo could be in the gang.
That would make a lot of sense in terms of why we saw the hat. Because
Yeah.
unless you're saying that Roman is still alive, which if he is, I'm going to be very pissed.
I don't think. No, he's dead. He's dead. He's gotta be dead.
You say that, and I said that about Cinder
Yeah.
last year, but...
Well, here's the thing. Cinder, I actually like how there was just water. I guess there was just water. Like I rewatched Volume 5 before Volume 6, and I realized that when she's falling, we never hear her hit the ground. So I guess okay, she fell in water, and somehow the water broke the ice.
No, but like, the thing is, we didn't even know that there was water down there, which honestly
Yeah.
changes the entire equation. If she just fell and plummeted to her death, she'd be dead. Like, there's just no coming back.
If there
The
was no
water
there.
changes everything, literally. Water is the savior of Cinder.
Yeah.
Dang it, water. The one time.
One time. You're a great resource to the world, just not in the world of RWBY.
Not in the world of RWBY where you end up saving the main villain, who should have died long ago by the hands of Raven.
Yeah.
I got very upset by that, in case you guys can't tell.
Did you want Cinder to survive, or want her dead?
I honestly want... Like, she's a good villain. I will not for a second deny that. But I honestly wanted her dead so bad.
I think she is a good villain in the way that basically she's just a generic, I'm evil, I want power sort of way. That's really it. But it feels like to me that they're trying to do what they did in Volume 4, whereas like Cinder is powerless, or has to rely on people. But in Volume 5 it goes back to the way she was, and now in Volume 6 maybe acting like she sort of has to be sort of how she would act in Volume 4. But I kind of feel like if you just kept Cinder in a state for Volume 4 and 5, and then show her growth back to her normal self in Volume 6, and then in Volume 5, instead of fighting Cinder, they fight as some random new member
of Salem's team. I mean, they'd have to fight Watts in that case then, or something like that.
Yeah, Watts or somebody. I don't know, like a dead new member, whatever. And having Volume 6 and there's power back in is hunting them or something. I don't know. It feels kind of like a little bit, just the start of it felt like a retread a little bit.
I guess, actually, yeah.
But hopefully they do something interesting.
I mean, it's Rooster Teeth. We know they're going to do something interesting with this.
Hank's going to be in it.
What?
Next episode, I think Adam's going to be in it.
If he is, I'm going to be very happy because I really want to see what they're going to do with it. Especially after the hallucination of Blake in episode 1.
Yeah, basically it's just Adam on a train just standing there.
Yeah, the PTSD coming back for her. In all honesty, the fact that she still has PTSD about Adam really surprises me.
After everything about 5, yeah, you would think
she'd be over it by now.
Yeah.
And she has every reason to be over it by now, if you ask me.
But hey, fair to do that to people. And just like, even though you should not be scared, you're still on.
Dude, she one-shotted Adam, alright? She one-shotted Adam.
Here's our poor writing. You're decide.
It just, you don't go back to being scared after you one-shot the guy, alright? Especially not Adam. Especially not him after what he did in Volume 3.
What do you think that Adam's going to do? Hunt them down?
In all honesty, that's a bit up in the air. I want to say like he's going to try and rebuild the White Fang, but at this point, Ilya kind of made it clear that's not going to happen anytime soon.
And he killed everyone else.
Yes, he did.
Do you think the White Fang was a much smaller organization than what they were broadcasting it as?
It kind of seems that way, especially after Sierra got killed.
Oh, what's in Sienna, I think it is?
I thought it was Sierra Khan, not Sienna.
No, I think it's Sienna.
Okay, Sienna, Sierra, whatever it is. Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah. I felt like it was a much, like, after Volume 5, when I saw how many people were attacking. I felt like it was a much smaller organization than originally thought.
Yeah, like it seemed much bigger, definitely, and actually no, like it always kind of seemed more like it was just Adam, because in all honesty, the grunts.
Oh no, like here's the thing. In Volume 2, it seemed like there was like an army, or like half an army, or like they had a small army, it seemed to me. Volume 3, I don't remember much of the White Fang doing that much, besides like a handful of like maybe like teams on site. Then Volume 4, they talk about the influence and menagerie. And Volume 5, that. But it feels like maybe they had like most of their troops in menagerie, but they didn't have that many menagerie to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, besides, yeah, actually, yeah, they definitely didn't, because of Cornick and them. They trying to make it look as small as possible to make it seem like, oh, we're still on the side of you, Mr. Belladonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna like? I know they're gonna basically have two sides they're showing basically. They're actually just mainly one side of the past 3 episodes, basically just Team RWBY's point of view, and then Cinder's. But you think they're gonna like branch out to other characters at all, like maybe like Juniper's? I mean not Juniper, Junior's, whatever her name is, or
it's not even Juniper, and it's not anything anymore. It's just Jean, Ren, and Nora. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. So like their point of view, like they made it to Argus or whatever, and they meet up with Ironwood or something, and try to explain what's going on.
I mean, I'm really hoping that this isn't the last we see of that gang. In all honesty, like they seem like a really big part of this.
Yeah, hopefully, like, they don't just, like, get killed off screen or something. Or, like, they're stone struck for the rest of the volume. It's like, hey, we're the rest of Juniper, the remaining members of Juniper, we did something this volume. Did you? No.
Alright,
Or do you think they're going to ever show, what's the point of view? Or, like, Sun's or Ilia's point of view for the rest of the volume. Like, Sun, whatever they're doing in, Sun and Neptune, whatever they're doing in Vacuo. Or Ilia and Blake's parents trying to do something for the Faunus or whatever.
It's like, in all honesty, those 3 in particular, like, as much as I wanted to see Neptune again, and boy golly, he disappointed me with that first line of his.
Well,
but,
what?
I mean, I know Neptune's a ladies' man, and I've come to accept that of him, but really, you go silent for 2 volumes, and that's the best you can come up with? Really? Really? I shouted that at the theater. I shouted that loud and proud, man. I shouted that loud and proud. Any case, ooh, that's no bueno. Okay, sorry to do this to you guys. It's gonna be a little bit shorter. There's just one more thing I want to bring up before I have to go.
Before we have to end this, yeah.
Yeah, just sorry. We can't make it our the hour-long video like we did last time. In all honesty,
in the comments, what would you rather this podcast, like how long would you rather this podcast be? An hour? 2 hours? 30 minutes? 45 minutes? What's the average length you think a podcast should be for something like RWBY?
Yep, so just let us know that in the comments down below. We probably should have saved that for the end, but whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Alright, anyway, so last thing I just want to bring up is something that I actually forgot to bring up with Gold Star back when we did our podcast. What do you think is going to happen to Crow?
What do you mean? Oh, because of, like, in the intro?
Yeah, because he seemed to fall into darkness. Like, do you think, like...
maybe it's going to be, kidnapped by Grim or something.
Because, in all honesty, there's a problem I have with that scene. A big, big problem.
With the intro?
No, just with that scene, specifically.
Okay.
It was like, I kept thinking Crow was going to die, in all honesty. I thought Crow was going to die.
I don't think it's going to die.
Then the other thing I theorized was maybe, whatchamacallit, this is going to be kind of the moment where they surpass Crow, which I really don't want to happen.
Yeah, Crow's a cool character and all, but he's very, I don't think there's much depth in him at all.
I feel
Besides
like...
him being drunk. But I feel like maybe, hopefully they'll play some, like, doubts, like he was like more to Ozpin. After seeing this, maybe we have some doubts.
I mean, that, or maybe he finally reveals the other thing we always wanted to know.
What?
What the heck happened to Summer?
Does he know that?
I mean, he does. Like, he definitely, 100%, without a doubt, knows what happened.
Okay, like what do you mean by knows? Like knows how it happened? Was like was there and knows exactly.
So basically, like, what I'm thinking is, and this is something that I got from a theory that I saw some time ago. I believed it temporarily, but then Goldstar shot me down to every regard. The theory that Crow is Ruby's real dad, which I know is not true, or at least I don't believe anymore that that's true. If you guys believe it, not judging. But, whatchamacallit, something they said in that is, if you notice the picture Crow keeps, in his pocket of Team Stark, there's a circle around Summer and what seems to be 2 teardrops. We're thinking like the reason Crow gets drunk might be because of the fact he's trying to forget what happened. Like he was there, and like I think Team Stark kind of is left with what exactly happened. Maybe not Ty, but I think definitely Crow and Raven, especially with their significance to everything.
Yeah. Do you think? Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Do you think Raven's gonna show up at all in Volume 6?
I want her to, because then we get Ty, and if we get Ty, we get Zwei, so I'll be happy.
I feel like they should hold it off into Volume 7.
Come on, man. We haven't gotten Zwei in 2 volumes.
I think you're going to focus on the characters here, and do that later.
Still, though, just...
Like, RWBY has a pretty big cast. You know, like of the main four main, and a bunch of side characters, heroes and villains included.
Just like I really wanted to see, because the fact for the first time in I guess 2 volumes, so we only saw her for 2 volumes, we got human emotions out of Raven. I want to see more of that.
Who knows? Hopefully we will.
So, yeah. I'm really hoping.
Anything else at all? Besides Raven emotion?
Nothing really that comes to mind. I honestly think that's... I mean, we didn't go into as much in Salem, which is kind of what I wanted to go into, but I think we got everything we could have gotten.
I think the episode speaks for itself. A lot about Salem.
Yeah, and like... Also, another thing, let us know in the comments down below if you feel sorry for Salem after this as well. Oh, dang it. Now I remember what the other thing I wanted to talk about was. Dang it.
What is it?
Okay, last thing, and then after we discuss this, I'm just cutting off the video after this. Basically, I talked about there are 2 ways that Salem could get beaten. One was by Silver Eyes, and then we went off into everything about that. And the other thing was, what if she does realize the value of life, like the god said?
Like you feel like I realized they're like wrong. Like I realized I realized my wrongdoings, and I've lost my taste for like causing harm.
Like basically, what I'm thinking is either way, I see RWBY being the one who defeats Salem in the end. But like I see it that either A, it's going to be through her eyes, or it's going to be through she's that beacon of light that kind of shows Salem what she needed to see, and that brings her out of the darkness, which allows her finally to be put to rest.
Okay. It is like, oh, you killed me, you robbed my soul peace or something.
Effectively, yeah, and like it's like because of the fact she was never able to accept that before, that's kind of what led to this whole thing. That's
I don't think so.
Alright,
Could be, but I'm not seeing it.
I mean, alright, well, let us know in the comments down below, and with that, we are unfortunately out of time. So, as we said before, let us know what you guys think proper time should be in...
and any theories that you have.
Yep, and with that being said, this has been Joe of Joe Podcasts, and...
This is whatever we call this. We don't know, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna be just called Joe of Podcasts instead of Joe Gaming from now on. So, Joe of Podcasts and Knight signing off.
This has been Knight signing off.
Yeah, letters.